Hi, I'm Gary.
And I'm Graeme.
Welcome to the Same World, Different Planets podcast.
A conversation between two friends who are separated by 30 years.
So, Graeme, it has been over 6 years since the first confirmed case of COVID here in the UK. I thought we'd go deep this week, as sometimes we do sort of messing around episodes. I thought we'd have a bit more of a serious conversation for the viewers this week.
I'm not sure where this is going, but okay.
So, how did you find COVID?
So 6 years, really?
6 years?
6 years.
That's what my quick Google search told me. The first confirmed case in the UK was a mother and son.
Wow.
And it was in January 2020.
Yes. And I was in Rome in November of 2019, and when we came back, just as we were coming back, we were starting to hear of things happening in Italy, and I can remember coming back and saying to people, "There's this really nasty thing coming," and people just didn't believe it. No one believed it at all. So I was very, very concerned, nervous and frightened throughout COVID. I'm a lifelong asthmatic, not well managed, not particularly troublesome to me. But anything like that was threatening with that sort of virus made me particularly nervous. So I was a very, very early advocate for locking down and got a lot of stick for that, I can remember. And found it very, very painful, some of the early mistakes that the government made, where I think if they'd locked down sooner, an awful lot of people could have been saved.
Yeah. It's hard to take yourself back to that time, though, isn't it?
It feels
like a dream, almost, doesn't it?
It almost feels like different people went through it.
Yeah.
And I suspect that's the same with a lot of major events that happen in the world. You know, fortunately, we haven't yet lived through a world war, but I can always remember my granddad sort of talking about the war afterwards and saying, "Oh, it all feels like a different time. It doesn't even feel like it was us."
Yeah.
I'm not, by any stretch of the imagination, trying to suggest that what we went through in COVID was what people went through in the Second World War. But the point was, it was something that we hadn't experienced before. We didn't know how to experience it. Really. We didn't know how to deal with it. And certainly, once we all sort of got locked down and we couldn't see our friends, we couldn't see our loved ones, my son ended up having 3 weddings, trying to get weddings sorted out through lockdown. It was just an extremely difficult time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's funny, well, it's not funny at all, but when I think of COVID, it is a blur, so I can't remember dates or anything. But I remember the first lockdown, really enjoying it. It sounds awful. I just remember being in my pants like the whole time. I was in my pants for about 6 months. And I was sat in the garden sunbathing, and I bought which is unlike me because I'm not a big gamer, but I bought a racing simulator chair.
Yeah, I remember.
And I ended up racing in leagues and everything online. It was a brilliant time. But I did find the second lockdown a lot more difficult, and it was whatever the timescale was. It was a month or so of just enjoying doing nothing, and then
that was another one.
It became quite challenging, didn't it?
That was another one when I was getting on my high horse about the government, because I think the second lockdown came after Rishi had gone on the TV and said, "Eat out to help out."
Oh, that's right.
I even had, even my brother was ringing me saying, "Oh, we've got all these vouchers, we're going to go out and have a meal." I was thinking, mate, it's all going to come back again.
Yeah.
And sadly it did.
Yeah.
But I think, for me, one of the things that sticks most in my mind is when they did gradually start to let us out again. So after the second lockdown, and they said that we could go out and we could go and play golf, but we had to keep 2 metres apart. And I can remember being on the golf course, and if you play a lot of golf, which we do, at the end of the round, you shake hands and say thank you for the game and the rest of it. So I instigated this thing at our clubhouse that at the end of the round, because we couldn't shake hands, we'd all have to give each other a bow, a Japanese bow. And I thought this was, and I still think this is genius, because if you play golf on a regular basis, you know that after 18 holes, if you're playing in a 4-ball with 3 other guys, you're going to end up at the end of that round shaking hands with 3 other people, at least 2 of which have had at least 2 peas in the bushes.
I was thinking this,
And you never know what they've done with their hands. And if you're lucky, they've done that.
Yeah.
And then you're shaking hands. If I could have my way now, bashing that. If I could have my way now, I'd go back right way to
To the bow.
to the bow, and no more disgusting shaking
And you know
hands.
what else a lot of Roggins do? They spit on their ball and then they wipe. Again, that's so no. I'm with you there. I might start bowing at all the members at my club and see how it goes.
And so the other thing that happened to me when we were allowed back out, because I spent however many months it was getting deliveries from Tesco's and Asda's and all that shit, and then when the delivery turned up, it'd be in a box. I'd get it wheeled down to the back of the house. No item was allowed to come into the house until I'd got Dettol on it, antibacterial, wiped it down, and we had like a what do you call it, like a factory system going whereby I'd antibacterial it, wipe it, pass it to Lynn would take it into the house, put it in the cupboard.
Are you an Only Fools and Horses fan?
Yeah.
Do you remember the episode where they're taking those containers to the lake and Del Boy turns up in that scuba diving gear? That's what I've got visions of you opening the door.
If I could have got a hazmat suit, I would have got one. I
can imagine you with a 2 metre stick just keeping everyone away.
So I had done this for God knows how many months, and then I eventually plucked up the courage to go to Tesco's to do a shop. And I was really genuinely nervous about it. I didn't want to do it. And I'd previously got my brother to go and do our shopping and stuff because I was so concerned about what was going to happen. So I went to Tesco's and I had one of those trolleys, not the big trolley, the little trolley. And I got the trolley and I had deliberately, when I got to the checkout, you normally put the trolley in front of you and you load it all up. No, because I want 2 metres minimum. And so I stood in front of the trolley, pulled the trolley up behind me, so as that was 1 metre that I'd kept them away, and then I only had to keep them standing on that line there. And I'd put all the stuff there. And when you put all the stuff onto the belt, you put the little next customer thing goes behind it. Well, I've put the stuff on, and this bloke reaches across me like that and takes the next customer and puts it. I said, what are you doing? He went, what's the matter? I said, 2 metres. He went, oh, you're not one of them, are you? I said, 2 metres? I just spent half an hour in his shop keeping away from everybody. Now I'm trying to put stuff on here and you want to start getting up behind me. And he went, I don't give a monkeys. I've had enough of this lockdown. His missus is standing next to him. She's going, Brian, come on, mate, calm down. And I go, mate, I don't care what you're doing. Just stay back 2 metres. At which point, he looks like he's going to start sizing up to me. At which point I say to him, mate, I'm 64 years old. You're at least that. We're going to have 2 of us rolling around the floor here in Tesco's. And at which point his missus stormed off. And he goes, you happy now? I went, as long as you're 2 metres away, mate, I'm happy. And that was the nearest I got to a fight in 60 years. All over COVID in 2 metres.
Yeah. It was a
I don't want to go back to that.
Strange old time.
So
talking of change, one of the big changes was obviously a lot more people working from home. What do you think? Good or bad?
Terrible. Terrible. Well, every Monday and Friday they're on my bloody golf course. And I can tell because they've got their phones out and they're checking their emails. So no, get back to work. So all joking apart, I have got a thing about people working from home. I think it's good that people can do it. I think it's good that work has become more flexible. But I do think especially youngsters miss out. So I think that potentially, again, wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been for COVID.
Yeah.
So, but what are the things that you've noticed about
in regards to working from home?
Things that are different since COVID.
Well, doctors, big one for me. I noticed a big shift in being able to get an appointment and having to ring at bang on 8 o'clock in the morning, and if you haven't got in the queue of 20 people at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Was it not like that before?
I don't believe so. I'd say the high street is struggling more than ever. COVID must have put more people onto online shopping, mustn't it? Without doubt.
Yeah.
So definitely. I think you walk along any high street now and every other shop is closed. It's like a vape shop, a hairdresser's, or I think that's probably had a massive effect.
No, I'm going to have to take you on there. I was in the high street today. I went to Marks and Spencer's with the missus today, and it's not every other shop is closed, and it's not every other shop is a vape shop. There are more vape shops. There are more fast food takeaway type shops, but even in our high street is not particularly revered locally, but I don't think it's as bad as that. I think people are.
Really?
No, I don't. I think people are still going out
I
to the shops.
rarely go to the high street now, but when
Well,
I
I was
have,
there
that's the
today.
experience I've had. So, would you say anything has improved since COVID?
Wow, that's a question. No, because I can only think of things that have got worse, and I think the thing that frightens me the most about COVID is, are we prepared for the next one? Have we learned anything?
Mm.
And I think people's memories are really, really short. And what worries me even more is that I suspect the government's memories are even very, very short.
Mm.
And would I believe that we're prepared for another pandemic at the moment? No.
Do you think people would even take notice of it again? Do you think a lot of people would have the attitude of, oh, we got through it last time, we'll get through it this time, and maybe not take it as serious as they did last time?
I think there'd be some people like that. I wouldn't be. I think that's just down to the individual, isn't it? And it'll also be down to what sort of COVID did you have last time.
Mm.
I mean, I know people of my generation who didn't have any of the vaccines, who did the bare minimum in terms of legally what they had to do. So if it came round again, why would they do anything different?
Sure.
They wouldn't.
Sure.
Would people be more prepared to stay at home if it wasn't Boris telling them? Maybe, I don't know. Difficult one.
So, final question then. You're talking about government and Boris. What do you think it did for trusting government?
Oh, it just blew any trust that MPs and government had, didn't it?
Yeah, massively.
And here we are, you would say it was 6 years?
6 years since the first confirmed case.
So, 5 years on from that, do I think people trust MPs and the government more than they did? No, I think they trust them a damn sight less.
Definitely.
And if you look at what's going on across the water, there's every reason to trust them that much less.
Yeah.
But, I mean, apart from sitting in your pants and playing with your Game Boy, what else was different for you? Because, your work must have completely disappeared almost overnight.
Yeah, no, work stopped. Obviously, I work in events, and events weren't able to take place.
Yeah.
So work stopped overnight. The way I pay myself in a company format is through dividends, which meant I got very little furlough. So I forget the figure now, but I was living off about, I think my furlough was about 300 or 400 quid a month, or I don't know if it was even that. So it was a tough time, as you can imagine. It was really tough time.
Yeah.
And then when the events did come back, it was very restricted, you know. I think it was 16 people, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah.
So people didn't want to then spend money on the events because of how it was taking place. So it was a strange time. But then what happened weirdly for the event space, or certainly my experience, was then we had like this rocket boom, sonic boom, where people wanted to get married all of a sudden.
Oh, okay.
So we had a real sort of crazy year or two where the wedding industry just went berserk.
Yeah.
Like you could work every day if you wanted to, basically.
Yeah.
So that took a bit of adjustment, as you can imagine, because after however long of not being able to earn any money, it was hard to then turn down the work. But from a sort of mental health standpoint, it was important too.
Well, and also, you can only be at one place at any one time, can't you? So it doesn't matter how many offers you get, you can only do one.
But no, like even when I think about, like before COVID, I did every meeting in person before a wedding, for example.
Yeah.
Now all my meetings are from Zoom, you know.
Yeah.
Would I have gone on to Zoom anyway? Possibly.
Yeah.
Probably, maybe.
Yeah.
But it just become the norm, you know. And it's a shame, I suppose, losing that face-to-face aspect, but it's just the way life's changed now, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we also probably ought to consider a couple of generations below yours, because it must have had an incredible impact on the kids who couldn't go to school.
Yeah, definitely.
I've got a nephew who was due to start university and basically had to do all of his university degree from home.
Yeah.
And still had to pay the money. And you just think, wow, those guys got shortchanged.
So what is the justification behind the charges of it then? The lecturers and stuff, is it?
I suppose so. It's £9,000 a term, isn't it?
Wow.
£9,000 a year, rather. And
That's
so,
crazy.
Yeah, I know. That's a whole different topic.
I presumed it was to do with, I suppose their argument is the campuses were still having to, the lecture, I don't know, but I suppose there was a lot more to it,
Yeah.
you know.
Tell us if we're wrong,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure that nobody got any money off just because they couldn't physically go into halls or couldn't physically go into the university. They were still, so to speak, getting their university education. But no, again, going back to all those young children who were perhaps due to start school and then didn't get to start school for another 2 or 3 years later, that must have had a massive impact on them.
Yeah, definitely.
And it would be interesting to see what teachers might say about those children and what they missed out on.
Yeah.
But you asked me earlier, do I think we've learnt a lot, and do I think the country's ready for the next one? I mean, look at the NHS. I mean, the NHS is still on its knees, still recovering.
Yeah.
From the backlog that they had. So, please God, not another one for at least another 10, 20 years because I don't think the NHS could cope now at all.
And you're very pro NHS as well, aren't you?
Yeah,
you need
absolutely.
to make that clear that you're not anti NHS by any means,
no,
are you?
No, I am 100% behind the
NHS.
But
it's crazy, isn't it? It's just a different world. You can't imagine it, can you? You really can't.
Yeah. And give it another 10, 20 years, we may have got the money back from Michelle Mone, won't we?
Yeah, very true, very true.
And on that note...
Yeah, depressing one this week, maybe, but it's important to have these conversations. So, let us know how your COVID experience was. Hopefully you didn't spend the whole time sitting in your pants. Leave your comments below.
See you next week.